Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining us on this podcast at Live. Extremely excited to be hosting you, and we've got very interesting set of topics to discuss, complex ones also. But this topic is of very great interest to the leaders from across the globe. So we'll kind of pick up your mind on these topics. But before we go there, I would like to introduce Ravi to our audience. So Ravikanth is a seasoned engineering leader and vice president with over 23 years of experience driving large scale data and software engineering transformations across banking, retail, and supply chain domains. He's currently leading engineering at a global financial institution where he specializes in building cloud native platforms, modern data pipelines, and scalable microservices architectures on AWS and Azure. With a deep expertise in AI driven decisioning and data engineering and agile delivery, he has consistently improved system performance, reduced cost, accelerated product delivery through a strong leadership and technical excellence. Welcome you, Ravi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishikesh.
Ravi, the first one is that when we talk about a lot of enterprises today, they want to move from batch processing to real time decision making. So, from your experience building these large scale data pipelines and streaming platforms, what are the key architectural principles that organizations should follow when designing a real time data platform?
Right. So the real-time data platforms is the need of the hour, right, today, because everybody is using all the smart devices today. So we need to have the data in real time on our fingertips. Basically, the idea is not to have the data coming up in scheduled times, but then have it as and when we have the data created. So we call it as events. So once we have the data created on the source systems, it could be a gadget or any application that we are using, it should be now ready to pass on to the downstream. We call it as event driven architecture. So that is a way to go. So we need to set up the event driven architecture. We need to use certain tools, certain applications that are widely used for event driven architecture that could really get us to the closer to the data at real time, bring our needs.
So, what is this event driven architecture like? If you could explain us, like.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as I was mentioning, it's all about listening to a certain applications which are closer to the business. For example, we consider ATM, right? So it's one of our main point of sale wherein customers enter and try to withdraw the money or like try to deposit the money. So that's the point of sale application which is running on ATM. And once that event, which means the transaction that happens on the ATM, the downstream applications, right? Whether we call it as a bank ledger or the customer service center specialized in fraudulent tracking teams and all. So they would like to know the transactions which is happening on the real time so that they track that it's all valid and all. So what do we do here is that the event that get generated when the transaction happens, we try to have it in real time basis. So there are like certain methodologies for that, certain applications, tools we can use such as Apache Kafka, which is industry-wide standard, that we can install and create the topics and have it integrated with the smart systems, which are like the source systems, right? Point of sale, I was explaining. That's one way that will generate the event and then place it into we call it as topic. And from there, we need to listen to those events, get them right away once it is placed so that, we will get them loaded into, we say, a transaction table, no, the online application using APIs and other means. So this is all actually we call it as event-driven architecture.
Got it. So I think the need of having a real-time data streaming will be most in case of, say, fintechs, banks, say, POS, point of sales, wherever it is happening. It may not be required for all the industries, no? Because it kind of increases the, prices and cost significantly.
Correct. There is, there is definitely a cost associated when we try to have the event-driven architecture system in place because there will be multiple components which need to be integrated. We either we want to do it to the multiple downstream applications, as I'm mentioning, right? In today's world, the multiple use cases where we try to track the transactions happening at the source. So yeah, there is some investment involved to have the different services running and having to choose a platform where they are interconnected. And also we need to take care of the high availability of the systems in a lot of such things need to be in place, and obviously it will have certain cost factor.
Yeah. And you've already mentioned about technologies like Kafka and event-driven architectures,
Correct.
which are becoming the foundations for modern data platforms.
Yeah.
But would like to understand what are the biggest challenges that you as a leader in your engineering team face when scaling a streaming data system in a large enterprise?
Right. So there are multiple vendors out there which are offering us the data streaming solutions, and primarily all of them would have Kafka as an underlying, tech stack, technology
Mm.
stack. And there are like certain tools like Apache Pulsar and certain IBM MQ components, and those kind of applications. So there are definitely certain challenges and which are core to the software engineering principles, right? For example, we need to really evaluate what kind of volume of data we are dealing with. And then quality of data as well, because we're talking about the real-time data applications which are interconnected with the digital applications that we are using or digital gadgets we are using. There is a ask or there is a requirement that we will not be showing bad experience to customer, right? So what does it mean is we need to keep that data quality intact while we're integrating the data in real time. We need to also run the validation in parallel behind the hood, and then that has to make sure that the response of getting the data onto the smart screens or the applications on the low latency should be on the low latency. So those are the couple of challenges, I would say. The high volume, and then we need to really draw a evaluation or come up to some kind of high level measurement, saying that okay, this is the volume we will be targeting or will be going to meet with. So and then accordingly we need to also work on the high availability, especially for the Kafka like system, right, which will have to be installed on a given systems. So it has to be between the regions, between the availability zones. And the best example is we have seen the war which is happening in the Middle East right now. So the applications need to be cross region. Otherwise, let's say if it is on the east and west of a given country, if a given country is in trouble, then I think applications will be in trouble, right? They go down, and then definitely that will impact the real time systems.
Yeah. Now we'll touch a bit upon, blockchain. So blockchain is often discussed in the context of cryptocurrency,
Right.
but its real enterprise potential goes much deeper.
Right.
So from your perspective, where do you see blockchain solving meaningful business problems today?
Yeah. So blockchain is basically a decentralization of data.
Mm.
So we keep hearing of centralizing the data, which is like, for example, bank, right? We go and keep depositing our money at one place, and from there, everyone will use their own method of drawing or depositing money, and again it goes back to the bank. When it comes to the blockchain, we are trying to decentralize it so that you know access to the critical data when we need instantly, and also there is a transparency. There is a what do we call equal roles and privileges and permissions across systems. So apart from the cryptocurrency, there are a lot of use cases for blockchain. For example, right, blockchain can be used for verification of IDs, digital IDs. So today in the digital transformation world, we are looking at having the multiple systems integrating and then seamlessly, again going back to our earlier topic, the real time data, right? So digital systems, digital way of doing the things is critical here. And when we are talking about that, let's say having multiple systems, let's say maybe 20 or 30 of applications trying to access a data in a single store or single place, there are certain restrictions. But if we apply the blockchain here, what would happen is that digital access will become seamless. In a way, we centralize the access and trust that is needed between the systems. Maybe we will have it stored in that 20 and 30 places as a key store encrypted values, such that, right, the trust, we can call it as a validation system.
Yeah.
And then it will solve the problem of having that a single point of failure. So that's one. And I think other than that, it can also be used as systems like voting or like surveys, right? So caching, for example, we have like hundreds of machines. So we try to vote, and then it has to go to a particular system. It need not be real time that everything should go to one place, right? So we can have that survey done and then voting done at individual systems, and then later on it will be synced into the central data store. So it's basically having the decentralized transactions into centralized offline. But then on the hook and on the real scenario, it looks like the transaction is happening at the local very, very fast and without any connectivity issues. And just one more thing I would like to call out here is that So with the blockchain, right, it's also helpful to have things very secure. So there is a concept nowadays called zero trust.
Yes.
It's lot, yeah. So it is so a lot of people think that zero trust is no trust, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that. Zero trust is that we validate it. Of course, we don't trust the system we are connecting as if like I mean, we treat it as a new system always whenever we try to connect. So although we have the system already configured within the network as a peer network node, but still we apply validation, right, while connectivity. So
Yes.
this is a perfect use case for blockchain where we do that. Where we establish that connectivity between the two systems with a dedicated, uh, you know, uh, uh, the keys and all that digital keys we say, right. That way, right, it will establish that zero trust mechanism using blockchain. Yeah,
These are very pertinent use cases, like
yeah. I mean, primarily used in every sector, not in just the banking, right. It can be used in retail, uh,
supply chain, like.
supply chain, and everywhere it can be used. Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of startups coming from Hyderabad which are working in this space, like more than what they are doing in Bangalore.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And one more thing is that it's not easy to implement the blockchain solutions. As I was mentioning, we need to have the dedicated connection between the systems. The
Yes.
platform should be very secure so that, any middle person cannot, try to intervene or try to get that access, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah. There, I think it involves the cost for the infrastructure
Yeah.
and as well as that, security in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it happened, Ravi, like you were implementing something related to blockchain and, security breach basically happened. It kind of created a chaos within the organization or something like that. Do you have any story related to this?
Actually, I have not worked on any real-time use cases, but yeah, I did perform a POC,
Yeah.
and in my organization as well, there are a lot of use cases. I mean, that was executed with a
Hmm.
dedicated platform for blockchain.
Hmm.
So yeah, there will never be any. At least I have not heard any
Hmm.
a scenario where we had the data breach or connectivity breach. As I
Hmm.
said, it's all like secure and it will be what do you say? Once the connectivity is established, the security algorithm that are used will be on very high end. So it will be using like 256, sometimes 512 also. It will be, yeah, and those will be tough to decrypt. And of course, as I mentioned, the dedicated connection itself is very hard to accessible to others. Yeah, so that way it will be protected.
Yeah. Ravi, I've got a question. Like it was coming to my mind. Like with all these AI tools now coming in, like you have Lovable, Cursor, and all these things, which is helping people to build a platform website at a click of a button. And some of these platforms have scaled as well, like kind of to 1 million or 2 million users. Do you see a security problem, with such kind of a setup in terms of data breaches and all?
So yeah, I think there's a lot of buzz around like AI tools and AI agents, right? It is true. They are helping us in a way that the work is getting done very faster. But there are security issues and there are like issues like data validation and accuracy. Obviously, AI agent cannot replace a human. So human will have more intelligence. Human will have the context of what's happened in the past, and also he'll have a context on what uh, in future, right? So that is something which AI agent will lack. Having said this, so AI agents are more of like tools which will
Yes.
increase our productivity, right? So definitely they are being used high in every organization, in my organization as well. So yeah, so there are like issues more on security as I mentioned, and then
Hmm.
the data accuracy side of it. And I also see one more problem using AI agents. So the once we use AI agents, right, for pretty much all the use cases or across the applications in an enterprise, so what would happen is that they are very intelligent in a way that they find the issues, they find a way to code, and then they
Yes.
go ahead and even create the pull request. They go and given the control, right, they can deploy and they can even disturb the production systems as well. So which is
Yeah.
not good in a way that we should have that control. Meaning, so yeah, we just cannot leave that entire functionality to the agent to do. So there should be some control.
Got it, Ravi. Now, when we talk about software upgrades and system decommissioning, they are often overlooked, but very critical parts of enterprise architecture. So, what strategies can organizations adopt to manage upgrades and and kind of retired legacy systems without disrupting the business operations?
Yeah. So this particular topic is very close to me because this has been my area of work or area of interest, you can say,
Yeah.
where I did my doctorate. So the software upgrades is very essential for every team and for every organization, right? Because pretty much any software which is in use
Mm,
will definitely have a version upgrade in a year or two. So I just like to give a very beautiful fact, right? So if we
mm,
go back and consider the Gordon Moore's law, right? So what does it say? Is that
mm,
every 2 years there will be change. There will be like more and more double the transistors, more and more
yes.
transistors on a chip, and then even the memory requirements, will also be doubled. So considering that, we can stick on to that principle, saying that every 2 years for sure there will be version upgrades, and within that also, we would have like certain requirements to go for upgrades or even decommission the software whenever we get to certain requirements, like let's say there is a compatibility issues
Mm,
between each software version
mm,
or the dependent software that is running on an enterprise application. In the hardware that is being used, there could be compatibility issues, right? And not only this, let's say we never know, but there could be some issue which has happened, just like Log4j that happened a few
yes.
years ago, right? So all these softwares need to be upgraded with a fix, and then let's say someone like Sun Microsystem
Huh.
introduces a fix in Java, then it has to be circulated back in pretty much all the application, all the computers on the world, similar to Microsoft servers as well. So such things when arises, we need to go ahead with the software upgrade and then test the connectivity once again. At least smoke test should happen, and then obviously if there are any versions which are not compatible, which are
Mm,
breaking the changes, we need to go ahead and replace it with other software, or maybe down the line we need to decommission them. So even on this line, there is a perfect opportunity for us to utilize AI agents here. The reason,
yes.
because it's a mundane task
Mm,
and it's a very periodic checks that is needed to keep checking the softwares or that libraries that we are using across our applications,
mm,
what versions they are using, what compatibility versions we have in place for further use, right? So there should be a check in place, continuous check in place, health monitoring, taking a check in the errors, what is breaking change that's happening,
mm,
let's say if any upgrade happens. So all that need to be checked continuously, and then a report need to be sent out as an executive summary, so that need to be looked into, and then perfect opportunity for the uh, CTOs or CIOs, who can go and take certain decisions, either to go for higher version upgrade immediately or go for another software, uh, or even to decommission the software also if it has a lot of security risks and flaws, etc.
So we have already discussed, I think, two times about AI agents, but there is a third
Mm.
time as well. So how do you envision AI agents
Mm.
assisting enterprise architects in kind of evaluating complex system and making better technology decisions?
Yeah, I think AI agents already being used for developers and for testing and validations and all that, and it can also help in architects. So there are certain tools out there. I think everybody's who is into architect role, right? They would
Mm,
be using either Visio or Lucid applications. So which is a way to create diagrams, flow charts, graphs, and all that to show the certain flow in a system architecture diagram. All that, and it could be an existing diagram or a new one. What we can do is we can actually give it as an input to the AI agent, and that apart from these two, right? Even there is something called as, I mean, I have read about it, not used,
mm,
something called as Miro, MIRO. So even that is also offering a capability to use the architecture diagrams
mm,
and come up with the insights. So what we can do is we can give these to the AI agent as input, and then run the AI agent, which can actually decipher the diagrams. It can
mm,
give us the insights, how we want. Let's say we wanted to say that, okay, I need the flow diagram. I take this flow diagram. I need the flow in bullet points or even
yes.
the dependencies, right? It
Mm,
can easily give us that. It's not that we cannot do it. We can go through diagrams and do it. But
mm,
architects, right, they generally deal with complex diagrams,
yes.
different applications, a lot of integration in enterprise systems.
Mm,
So if they have these kind of use and AI agents helping them out, I think their work will be, half,
yes.
right, will be done in half time, right? So they'll be very much happy.
I kind of searched about Miro. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It's like an AI innovation workplace, and it's used by the architect. Like It's used to brainstorm, map ideas, manage projects. It's
Correct.
much like Altation, I think, right now.
Correct. And good part is, I think they are coming up with integration with the public clouds as well, like AWS, Azure. So even existing system architecture, say we can download it uh, from the AWS and give it to Miro, right, as an input. I think they have that capability to give us back the insights. That's what they're claiming. But yeah, I haven't tried myself. But yeah, good to know that we are getting such kind of systems.
Problem is that, Ravi, they claim 100.
Correct. But I think I heard Miro that it's being used by multiple, big players in the industry. I heard about that, but not really about this use case.
Ravi, how do you see enterprise platforms evolving in the next 2, 3 years as
Mhm.
technologies like AI, real time data system, and decentralized architectures continue to mature?
Yeah, I think if we talk about Amazon today, right? So it's about perfect platform for all of us to either to shop or to even go and use the AWS services, right? Any startup to big enterprise, they use AWS platform, right? And also Azure platform. So if you talk about AI agents or even the decentralization of data or even the real time data applications, the AWS has all the capabilities, right? As a platform, they give us these services we can start using. So I do see that the enterprise application or enterprise platforms like AWS and Azure, right? They will become more and more like capability. They'll have like more and more capabilities. They'll become more and more bigger in terms of like offering services or new features. And not only for the enterprises, even for the customers. Let's say tomorrow, if somebody wants to use AI agents on their own smartphones, right? We would need some platform to set up and quickly get started or get it running. So I think these kind of platforms, I'm thinking, would play a big role because they have everything. They just need to open up their platform for everyone to use or every other system to use. So yeah, I think it's only going to grow and grow with AI agents also becoming our friends in the future. But yeah,
Now, Ravi, one last. Yes, 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 yes.
yeah, but yeah, I maybe not really sure how does it shape out. But then the agents the will become maybe our friends in pocket.
Yes. Ravi, now one question, which I would like to ask. You have a long career. When you look back, one or two moments which you are really proud of, like when you
Mhm.
look back in your career, if you want to share that with our audience.
Okay, really proud of. Okay, so I think in the beginning of my career, so there's a saying, right? If you have to learn a lot, then it has to be in the beginning of the career. So I am really proud of that because couple of years in the beginning of my career, I have learned a lot. I have had like a very good manager, and then the zeal that I had. Right? Literally, I remember the days where I worked for 20 hours as well for a few days in a stretch. And then I had to like sleep a long, maybe have a long slept as well after the production deliverables are done and then issues are resolved and all that. So that's a proud moment because you are basically learning yourself as well
Yeah.
as like you are helping your organization to meet the delivery timelines. And then when I look back, right, those moments, if I go back and think about it, I think yeah, there is a satisfaction in my mind saying that
Yeah.
okay, I mean I have learned a lot at that time of at that time, and then I also gave back some uh, very good
Yes.
deliverables at that time. And recently also, as I mentioned, I have done the doctorate, right? So that
Yeah.
is something which I was having that fascination to go over and do some research. And it's difficult to have it doing in a professional life where you
Yeah.
are busy with your work and also personal life and all that. But yeah, I think I thought of maybe taking it up. It already uh, 20 plus. So I thought of maybe there's a right time to go for research. And then I was like, since I worked on many tech stack right in my career, so I thought, okay, why not think about a topic which is very, very frequent in software development lifecycle, which is nothing but upgrades and decommissioning of
Mhm.
softwares. Yeah, picking up the topic, I worked on it, put up the idea, worked on it, and then yeah, I mean, went through a lot of discussions with my peers, with my mentors, much of the work. And that time, AI was just picking up, so there were no AI tools as well. 2.5 years ago, so everything was handwritten. Thesis and interviews all happened. like many inputs, again going back on my notes, again working on few more things, and again showing them the evidences. So once I got the doctorate, it was very like again moment for me, a proud moment for me, because there was something which, when you worked hard and then you achieve the success, right? It's quite natural that you feel very happy and you will feel proud about yourself. And I'm proud about my peers and my mentors and my family as well. They cooperated me along.
So Ravikant is now Dr. Ravikant. I'm sorry that I didn't.
No problem. I mean, yeah. So there is something I did very recently, 2 years ago.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi, for joining us on this podcast and sharing your insights with our audience. And extremely grateful, to be hosting leaders like you who have done so much for the industry, right from the very beginning, working on so complex projects and also, kind of adapting yourself to the new technology that's coming up. And with the kind of experience that you have, I think you can also now, after your doctorate, you will be inspiring a lot of young students or say the young professionals, who would need your guidance. Thank you so much, Ravi, for taking our time and being with us on this show. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rishikesh. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, I think it's been a while I've taken this podcast. So really thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.